Well, hello, explorers! Are you ready for another adventure? I was just doing research about our next trip together. Did you know that there are 7 chickens for every human on Earth? That's crazy, right? Let's do some quick math. So there are more than 7 billion humans on Earth, and 7 times 7 billion is 49 billion chickens on Earth. That's crazy. Can you guess what today's trip is about? If you guessed chickens, you were right. Today, we were invited to Roanoke Catholic, where we're learning from Mrs. Humphrey, the 4th grade teacher, about the life cycle of a chicken. Did you know the life cycle of a chicken actually begins before the eggs even hatch? I know! That is egg-credible. Do you have your Explorer passport? If not, you can always go to Center in the Square's on-demand page and download one to follow along as we explore. Ready to go, explorers? Hi everyone, I'm Explorer Peyton, and today I'm here at Roanoke Catholic School. Today we're going to be talking to Mrs. Humphrey about the life cycle of a chicken. Come on! Hi explorers, I'm Peyton and I'm here with Mrs. Humphrey from Roanoke Catholic School. Today we're talking about the life cycle of a chicken.
Hi boys and girls, Mrs. Humphrey here. I'm very excited to talk to you about the life cycle of a chicken today. Thank you for having me, Peyton.
Absolutely. So what is a life cycle and how does it relate to the chickens?
So a life cycle is just a series of predictable events that happens to a living thing. We call that an organism in scientific terms. And with a chicken, the life cycle begins the moment that a fertilized egg is laid, and then when it hatches into the world and enters the world through its shell.
Well, how long does it usually take for an egg to hatch?
21 days. And I know that seems like a very short time, but a lot happens during that 21 days, and that embryo goes through a lot of changes.
Well, what are some of those changes? What happens while we wait?
I'm so glad you asked. So, on day 2, blood vessels start forming, and a tail appears, which will later become the spine of the baby chick. And the heart and the head form at that point. Day 3, the heart starts beating, and the circulatory system is completely developed, including head and legs, wings and eyes, and even the beak starts forming. Day 4, the little baby chick kind of forms a C shape inside of the egg, and the brain and mouth and tongue start to form. In fact, all the organs that the little baby chick needs when it hatches are developed by day 4. So the embryo continues to grow and form very fast and very quickly. By day 7, both eyes are formed, and they will appear as 2 dark circles, and a very special tool called the egg tooth. By day 10, down feathers form, and down feathers are kind of the soft, fuzzy feathers on a baby chick that when you first see them, that's what they have, and then later they grow the other feathers. Day 11, eyelids have grown. Day 13 is when the little baby chick develops a comb on the top of its head, that's that skin on the top, and then a wattle, which is the loose skin underneath the chicken's chin. Day 14, the embryo is starting to look more like a little chick now. Kind of looked a little strange in the beginning pictures, not quite like a chicken. And the yolk is getting much smaller because the baby chick inside the egg is feeding on the yolk. That's its food source. By day 17 and 18, the baby chick is almost ready for hatching. In fact, it's turned itself so that its beak is towards the bottom part of the egg, towards the air sac. That's what it will use for breathing. And then by day 21, it starts to peck its way out of the egg.
Cool. Can we talk a little bit about other animals that may lay eggs like chickens?
Absolutely. So chickens are not the only animals. In fact, they're only one type of bird that lays eggs. Other birds such as ducks, geese, turkeys, and of course songbirds lay eggs. Now, the difference between songbirds and other birds, songbirds only lay eggs when they're fertilized, whereas chickens and ducks and geese and turkeys lay eggs on a fairly regular basis for us to eat. Now, it's important to remember, boys and girls, that the eggs you buy in the store do not contain baby chicks inside. Those are not fertilized eggs, so they are okay to eat. Other animals like insects, ants, bees, butterflies lay eggs. Reptiles like snakes, alligators, and crocodiles, turtles, and even frogs lay eggs. Did you know, Peyton, that there are actually 2 mammals that lay eggs?
No.
There are.
What are they?
So the 2 mammals that lay eggs, because mammals don't normally lay eggs, are the duck-billed platypus and the spiny anteater. And they both live in Australia.
Cool.
Good day, mate. Yeah. So Peyton, would you like to see what's on the inside of an egg?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we do a technique called candling. And in the old days, that's where it got its name, they actually used a candle and held the flame up near the bottom of the egg. But we use a flashlight, of course, today. So if we use a flashlight and we see that, can you see that empty space down here at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like that there's nothing there.
Right.
Do you remember that air space that I told you about, or the air sac? That is what we're seeing right there. So when the little chick is ready to hatch, it will turn itself so its little beak is there and it gets a quick, deep breath before it's ready to start hatching out of its egg. Now, can you see those little red squiggly lines there?
Yeah.
So those are blood vessels. So the blood vessels carry nutrients and oxygen to the baby chick while it's growing inside the egg. And then can you see that dark colored shadow, that really dark shadow inside the egg? As I move it around, it moves.
I do.
So that is the embryo. That's the baby chick developing inside this egg.
Wow. Hi, little guy.
And this one will be joining the world very soon.
So what's this fun machine with the eggs in it called?
So this cool machine is called an incubator. And it kind of takes over and does the job of what a mother hen would do in nature. So it keeps the eggs warm at a constant temperature of about 100 degrees Fahrenheit and keeps the humidity level at about 50 to 60%.
So you mentioned earlier that there was a tooth that the chick has when it's inside the egg. What's that about?
I did, Peyton. In reality, it's not so much a tooth as it's just an extra little extension or part of the chick's beak. So it's this little hard part at the very tip of the beak that has a sharp point on it that they use to make the first hole into the little egg to get them started. And in fact, that's all it's used for. After the baby chick hatches, that egg tooth dries up and falls off. Doesn't need it anymore.
Well, what else does the chick need to do to get out of the egg?
Well, it needs to be able to push its way out. So once it starts that little hole, then it will actually do a whole line of little holes in a straight line down. And then it uses its feet and its little head and it pushes on both ends of the egg until it breaks it open.
Neat. What does a baby chick look like when it first hatches?
Well, Peyton, I'm glad you said that. Ask that because they actually are not very attractive when they first come out of the egg. They're wet from all of the fluids that were inside the egg surrounding it, and all of its feathers are kind of pressed down, and they're very, very tired, exhausted from that pushing out the egg. But give it about 12 to 24 hours and they've dried out and they look like the little fluffy, cute things that we know and love.
Awesome. Well, can the chick survive on its own after it's hatched?
It can, it absolutely can, yes. Unlike human babies who have to be taken care of for a long time by their parents, a baby chick, once it hatches out and dries out and fluffs out, is responsible for looking for its own food. They go in search of worms, insects, scratching for seed, searching for its own water. Really, the only thing that it still needs from its mom at that point is a little bit of warmth until its regular feathers come in.
So how is a baby chick different from a full-grown chicken?
So a baby chick has very soft, fuzzy feathers called down feathers that help keep it warm. But those feathers are not waterproof yet, so it has to stay dry. But as that little baby chick grows and matures into a full-grown chicken, those down feathers are replaced by regular feathers, and those feathers are more waterproof, as well as keeping the chicken warm. The other thing that changes a bit is that, remember that comb I was telling you about on top of the head and the wattle underneath the chin? So as a chicken, or rooster as it may be, grows and matures, that becomes much larger and grows and is more noticeable.
Awesome. How long does that take for a chick to become a chicken?
So it depends on the breed of the chicken, But generally speaking, it takes about 18 weeks for it to become an adult chicken. But some breeds can mature as early as 16 weeks, and others it may take up to 25.
Wow, much quicker than ours.
Definitely.
So what is this funny box with eggs in it?
So Peyton, this is called an incubator. And so it does the job of what a mother hen would do in nature. Since we don't have a mother hen, this is the next best thing. So an incubator keeps all of our eggs nice and toasty warm at a comfortable 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And it keeps the humidity at somewhere between 50 to 60%. So we have a digital reading on top that kind of tells us that the temperature is where it's supposed to be and the humidity, and it also counts down and tells us how many days we have left until hatching time.
How many days do we have left?
We only have 12 days until hatching time.
Amazing.
Very exciting. So inside the incubator, there are lots of eggs, and you'll notice that they're all sitting in a nice little holder in their little groove, and so this is actually the egg turner. So this little motor controls that and actually turns the eggs, forward, backward, so that they lean in different directions. So in nature, the mother hen would do that job. She would use her beak and also her feet and reach underneath her in the nest and move the eggs around. So did you notice that there's X's and O's on these eggs?
Yeah, what's that about?
So we do that to mark which side of the egg we're looking at which point. So that is a little test for me to know and make sure that the egg turner is truly turning the eggs.
Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I loved learning about the life cycle of a chicken with you.
Thanks so much, and thanks for asking. And boys and girls, I hope you learned a lot today, and I look forward to hearing questions from you later.
See you soon, adventurers. That was so amazing! I especially liked learning about how a chick is formed inside the egg and how it uses its little egg tooth to get out when it's fully formed. What did you like learning about? Well, you can write all those things down in your Explorer Passport, and if you still don't have one, feel free to go to Center in the Square's website to the On Demand page and download your own. Special thanks to the Truist Foundation for making these available to everyone who wants to learn with us. Remember to keep asking questions, and I will see you next time, explorers.